Welcome back to Tiny Grimes Games, and I'm here with another Star Wars Destiny video. And I know I haven't gotten to Legacies as early as I wanted to with my reviews, but today I'm going to bring you my tier list for the Legacies Legendaries. And we have some really strong ones. What's been so cool about Legacies is that I feel like a majority of the Legendaries are actually useful. Some of them are really strong without necessarily being completely broken. So let's go ahead and take a look at them. Let's start with Maul's Lightsaber. Whenever you see a 3-cost upgrade, you immediately go, hey, does that redeploy? Ooh, it doesn't. Yikes. But Maul's Lightsaber is kind of absurd. It is really good. It does cost 3, but it has 4 damage sides, each of them 2 or more, and this disgusting power action that lets you roll it in again. So I've been trying to build some decks around this, and I found that this lightsaber is really, really strong. Yes, you do need to pay attention to your opponent's shields. You may need to do a damage here or there that you didn't want to just to get rid of one. You may want to run cards like Ice Storm. I ran a 1 of in my deck. It was actually quite useful. Shoto's quite useful with this as well for pulling off shields rather than getting shields. Essentially, that power action is almost always going to be on as long as you build your deck around it. And if you play 2 lightsaber pulls, 2 Maul's lightsabers, it's worth building your deck around it because it's obscenely strong. So I don't really know what else I have to say other than play cards with melee, play upgrades with melee as well to help balance it out. If you get an heirloom lightsaber and a Maul's lightsaber on somebody, wow, you're in business. I will say that costs you 6 resources, so you should be in business. I think the biggest thing with Maul's lightsaber is getting your opponent to commit to the other guy, or if you put Maul's lightsaber on it, you know, somebody early, when they haven't committed, know that person's going to die. So, like, I had a deck, I tried a Elite Kylo Ren, Elite 7th Sister, Profitable Connection. Turn 1, first play, boom, Maul's lightsaber on Kylo Ren. Put everything else on the 7th Sister. By the time they kill Kylo, he's done a ton of damage with Maul's lightsaber, and the sister is just ready to go. So, super strong card. If you get it, keep it. Don't trade it for nothing. Kylo Ren Starfighter, we're here, people. We are finally in the day and age where we have a good 2-cost support. Not just good, really good. 4 damage sides. The potential for some really big damage sides with how decks are looking right now. This is a scary, scary legendary. I'm thinking 1 in every deck. Every single blue villain deck is getting a Kylo Ren Starfighter. I'll tell you what. I played a draft game the other day. I thought I had this game locked up. My opponent, I claim he drops a Kylo Ren Starfighter for 2. And my jaw just drops. Like, you got that too? Oh, well, I'm really dead. All right, Yoda, I have him in tier 1. I'm not 100% sure he belongs there. Certainly, if shield chaining gets changed in some way, he will drop very quickly. There are some good decks you can build with him, though. That 13 is pretty good. There's some really neat tricks you can do with him. Special chaining is amazing. Light bows. I'm going to give you my special tech right now. I love doing Y-Wing with him and a partnership. Oh my goodness, you can do some crazy stuff with Yoda. And of course Poe and all the shenanigans that come with him. So he's great. The question will be, is he really tier 1 or not? I hope he is. I love Yoda. I want Yoda to be the best deck ever. I'm wondering, though. I'm not 100% sure that he is. But you know who is Tarkin. Tarkin's power action is so crazy. I've already done a video on this with a Kylo Tarkin deck. Essentially, all you have to do is stick cheap upgrades on characters and then use his power action. Holocron misses? Oh well, I'll use the power action. Force speed misses? Oh well, I'll use the power action. Dark Council misses? Well, Dark Council doesn't hit anyway. All it has is a focus side. I'll use the power action. Tarkin is insane. In addition to his power action, his die is really good. Having a 1 and 2 focus essentially means if you run him elite, you will always hit a focus, and you will always have the opportunity, if you want, to go 1 focus into 2 focus, focus 2 dice to whatever side you want. He is very powerful. I think he may be the best card in the set, best legendary in the set. We'll have to wait and see, but he is right up there to be sure. Alright, my next tier of legendaries are cards that are clearly good. And that's what's so cool about this set. When you drop down to the next tier, they're still real strong. I'm just not sure they're quite as strong as the other ones. Maul has this really great ability that if you remove one of his dice, then he gets to remove one of yours. But that's kind of tricky, right? You have to play him right. You have to roll him a little bit later in the turn. What's really strong to me is that it's his upgrade dice as well. So if you put a really strong upgrade on him, then he becomes really strong, even more strong. But what I don't like about him is he only has 2 damage sides, and one of them costs $1. So it's like, I don't love his die is good, but his die is not amazing, and his ability is good, but I just don't feel like it's as good as like roll the die out again or do 4 damage. Like it's good, and so that's why I have him sort of in this next tier down. What makes him so good is his cost. That's actually pretty cheap at $12.16. He has a lot of options for pairing up with different people. So he's a really interesting guy. I haven't put a lot of time on him. I just haven't seen a pairing that really I thought was stronger than some of the other really strong stuff coming out of the set. So we'll have to see on Maul. He's certainly good. I hope he's amazing. I mean, it's Maul. It'd be great. Obi-Wan's Lightsaber. I feel like Obi-Wan's Lightsaber is going to be really good in the right deck. The reason I have it in tier 2 is because I don't think you just drop it into all decks. I think you really want this in a deck that's going to have shields. Just giving a character a shield and doing a damage means it's not super strong without redeploy. Like, it's a good weapon. If it had redeploy, it'd be great. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of other weapons I'd rather play. I'd rather play an heirloom. I'd rather play ancient lightsaber. Maybe I'd rather play Shoto because it only costs 2. And so what happens is it ends up getting pushed farther and farther down that list of sabers you want to play. So I feel like in the right deck, definitely. Maybe it becomes a one of in a lot of blue decks. I'm not 100% sure on that. We'll have to see. Zeb is another one of these characters that I don't know yet. Like, he looks really good, and he's got some good pairings. At 17-13, he can pair with Aayla Secura. He can pair with Yoda. So I think we're going to see some really good Zeb decks, actually. And his die is really strong. For only 1 more point than Maul, he's got 3 damage size. And he's got this flexibility that you can resolve him either way. So it's really cool. You could pair him with some sort of gunslinger with plus gun weapons whenever one of these things comes around. And then you can use it with Zeb still. So I feel like we're going to see some good Zeb decks. And Zeb very well may move into that tier 1 category. I mean, you look at 10-13, 13-17, maybe there's a Yoda Zeb deck. I don't know. We'll have to see. I haven't built myself a Zeb deck where I was like, wow, this is the deck that crushes the meta. But who knows? Maybe there's one out there. Alright, so this next category are cards that, again, are good. I mean, this is what's been so cool about this set. They're all, like, pretty good cards. I feel like for all of these, either the jury is still out on them or there's a problem with them. So Greedo, he's awesome. If he was a rare, I would be stoked to pull him. But I just feel like 7 health, 7 cost, you're not playing him over... Probably, at least. Jeez, what's his name? Bala at 8. I just don't think you're playing him over him. So you're playing him in that 7 cost slot, which doesn't come up that much because 7 health dies so quick in this game. Are you playing him over Stormtrooper? I think probably. I think now he gets played instead of Stormtrooper, and I think that's his role. Like, that doesn't mean he's not a good card. It just means you're not playing him all that often. A lot of people are going for these 2-character decks. If 3-character decks come back into vogue, maybe. The problem is because he's unique, you can't pair him with Phasma for the Guardian, so like in that deck you would still use the regular Stormtrooper. He's just an interesting card that has this amazing ability that's not that amazing with only 1 die. And so it's like, do you want to play him at 2? And then he costs 11? I can't imagine playing him at 11, but I don't know. He's just this interesting guy that might end up being good in the right deck. I just feel like at 7, he's kind of limited. Finn? I wonder about Finn. He might be really good. That ability gives him 4 damage sides, and it gives him the ability to make this really weird deck where you go like Elite Finn, 2 copies of Willpower, 2 copies of Return of the Jedi to get Willpower back, and then throughout a long game, a lot of times you're moving a damage from one of your guys to your opponents. That's really strong to be able to continually move this damage around. You can also do things like the Hawk vehicle, be able to move a damage off of that so it's not damaging you as much, take a damage off your bubble shield, whatever it is that you're taking damage off of other things. Take a damage off of a con artist that your opponent has to one of their guys. There's just so many things you could do with that. On the surface, I feel like there's better things you can do at 12-16, but boy, he has that possibility of being really good. And I feel like Saw kind of falls into the same category. Having 3 damage sides that are pretty strong, like if you can build some sort of cool vehicle deck with Saw where you are actually discarding Falcons randomly because it's the last card in your hand. Let's say if you have a 2, a 3, and like a 4 or a 5 side in your hand, that could be really powerful. I feel like that's a lot of work, and it may just be better to take other options. Like 12-16, it's not a lot, but I feel like heroes have so many guys that can do more for less. 2-player Poe, I think, is better and cheaper. Aayla Secura may be better and cheaper. So you have all these other options where you're looking at this Saw and you're like, I don't know. Maybe like he's a good card, but is he good enough? Again, we're to this thing where we have so many cards now. You can't just be good to see a lot of play. You've got to be amazing. I think he's just good, and I think he'll be cool in the right deck, but I just don't know if that's going to be a tier 1 deck or if that becomes more of a funsies deck. Force Wave is such an interesting card. If you play Yoda and you get Force Wave down turn 1, and you get to go 3 to one of their guys, 2 to one of their guys, and 1 to one of your guys, that's really powerful. That's really powerful. And then late game, you just overwrite it with a different 3-cost force power and move on your merry way. So this maybe should go higher up. It's just cards like this that are really situational, that once a character dies and now you're doing 3 to their guy, 2 to one of yours, 1 to another one of your guys, that's clearly not worth it. So you're just not going to resolve that side. And so now you're just hoping to get the 2 indirects for 3. So it feels like you just have to get this really early or it's just not worth it. I guess I should say in an indirect damage, which is not a deck I've thought about it in, it could be really strong. Because in an indirect damage, they're purposely spreading the damage out always, and this would force them to either kill one of their guys, which they don't want to do, or allow you all game to resolve this for 5, which could be really strong. So, again, that's why it's in this kind of middle territory. I don't think it's a bottom tier card or anything, but I don't think it's as good as some people seem to think it is. Even with Yoda, I feel like it's a hit or miss kind of card. Okay, those are the bottom ones. All right, here we go. This tier for me is the not that great tier. Cal's bow rifle is cool, but it's kind of like Maul Saber, only Maul Saber is way better, like 1 billion times better than this. So it's like I look at that and I say, yeah, no, this just goes way down. It doesn't have redeploy. Yeah, it has some big numbers on it, but big numbers is not quite enough for me, and ambush certainly is not enough for me. I just feel like this card is probably not going to see that much play. I mean, maybe it could be really cool with Cad Bane or something like that, but I don't know. I'm certainly not excited about this card. The card I am really excited about is Dr. Aphra. I think Dr. Aphra is going to languish in relative obscurity for now, and then next set, 2 sets, however many sets it is, she's going to explode onto the scene and be really good. I had a great idea for a deck. I started putting it together. I put in her. I put in BT1. I put in the ID9 Seeker Droid. I was like, oh, I guess I put in BB9. And then I'm out of droids? Wow, that ran out fast. And so the problem is just simply that there are not enough droids yet. And so I have a hard time when I look at her. It's just like, I could play Seventh Sister, or I could play her, and I just don't think she's good enough to play over Seventh Sister at this moment. She's going to be soon, though. When there are more good droids, she is going to be... I think there's going to be a period, actually, where she's broken, or at least I should say meta-defining, if FFG isn't really careful. Like, if she was a light side character, she'd probably see a lot of play. There are a lot of droids. And so what I mean is not just simply getting the droids up, but there's some really cool cards you can play that are like, do X amount of damage based on how many dice you have in the pool. And these are the kind of decks where I think Dr. Aphra is going to look really, really strong when she can give you a ton of value early. So right now, though, I don't think so. But in the future, I say keep a close eye on her. Don't be too disappointed if you open her. You can do some interesting things now, but the future should be bright. Oh, the last group. I opened two of these, actually, in my one box. So let's start with the Pirate Speeder Tank. Pirate Speeder Tank is amazing, right? You look at the Pirate Speeder Tank, and you're like, Tiny, the card is amazing. And I will say, yes, it sure is. And in a Hera deck, it's probably going to be good. And maybe in a vehicle deck that can make a pile of money. The thing is, vehicles aren't quite what vehicles used to be, right? It used to be like, playing a vehicle deck, playing an ATST, I guess. Now you've got the new Slave 1, Kylo Starfighter, tons and 2 and 3s. 5 now just looks like this insurmountable number that unless you're cheating it out for free with something like Hera, I just don't see people playing this card. It's a cool card. It's really good. If you get it in draft, you should take it because it's going to be really strong in draft. If you can get this to hit the table, you're probably just going to win because there's not that much removal. So it's a good card, but it's just kind of unplayable. Rebellion Leader is the same way, only I think it's a lot worse. To me, this is the worst of all the Legendaries because if I'm paying 4, I want to have more than 1 damage side. I just do. I know it's got some cool focus sides, but you know what? That's not enough. It's not enough to me to be able to be like, yes, I can turn 3 of my sides for that 4-cost upgrade that I played that can only be played on a red character. That is unique. It's just too much to me. I don't see playing this. The power action's good. Repeatable removal is really good. But it's just, to me, it's just not good enough. Tarkin's, or Grand Moff, it's more interesting because this power action can be deck defining. Use the claim ability on the battlefield or switch the battlefield. So basically, if you can get this down reliably, you can build a deck around the battlefield that's insanely strong, whatever that is. I've already tried to think in my head of some ideas. I haven't come up with anything yet that I thought, wow, that is the way to do it. And it at least has 2 damage sides. It still has the 2 and the 3 focus. Still has the $2. Like I feel like it's Rebellion Leader, only better, but still bad. Right? Like I can't think of a scenario where I am playing it. I'm sure people will play this, and it'll be in some Tier 2 or Tier 3 deck that's really cool. It could even win a regional. Like, we are in such an early period with the set. No one knows what's going on. Building some really awesome claim deck with a super strong battlefield could be very strong and surprising with Grand Moff. But I think as we become more used to this set, we're just going to find those decks that churn out enough damage quick enough where you just can't pay 4 for a cool effect that will be used later. Like, it has to start, boom, right out of the gate doing stuff. I feel like Moff is like a later game stall card that has an ability that's not quite strong enough for a later game stall card. All right, well, that is my rundown on the Legendaries. Am I right? Am I wrong? What do you think? Where do you disagree with me? And I'll see you next time on Tiny Grams Games.